Good day, Twala Bears!
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Twala Bear channel. Last night we covered culture shock for Americans here in the Philippines. We're going to do a part 2 and finish up the series. So you're going to want to stay to the end of this video because I have a special culture shock for you that you're going to like. This hits me every night. This affects me personally. So stay tuned to the end of this video. So let's get started, babe. Let's finish up the rest of these culture shocks for Americans if they decide to come here to the Philippines. All right, here we go. Clothes here will not fit most Americans. That is the truth. Most Americans, we're kind of stocky, you know, we're built, you know. Most Filipinos here are small, tiny. The men are kind of on the thin side, small. So for me to go get an extra large shirt would fit like a small. Yeah, so
you can find one that fits you, but it's expensive.
It's expensive, and it may be not something that I want to wear. So just be aware that if you want to order t-shirts, if somebody knows of a place here in the Philippines for me, because I'm a big guy, I've been wearing the same shirts I've had for the last 6 years. I know that's not a good thing to say, but yeah, it's hard to find clothes. I can't wait to get back to America to load up on some more t-shirts or something because they have no clothes here for me. So be aware of that. Clothes for Americans, whether it be men or women, you may be too big for their
or our size.
For their sizes here. Yeah. Okay. Next thing is tipping or service charge at restaurants. This is a culture shock because in American restaurants, you guys are used to paying 20% for tip, right? Not here in the Philippines.
Yes.
What you'll see is what, babe? On the
service
receipt.
charge. We have service charge on the receipt. Sometimes most restaurants they have that. Sometimes they don't have that. So if we go eat somewhere in the restaurants and we see the service charge, we usually don't tip anymore.
Right, because that is the tip. The service charge is your tip, and they charge you VAT tax, right?
Yes.
So they will charge you either a service charge, and if it doesn't have a service charge on it, you look at your receipt and you don't see a service charge, which is the tip.
Yeah.
Then we normally tip. We'll put something down, but you don't have
we don't have
tip.
A certain amount.
Yeah, there's not a percentage that you normally put on your tip, so you don't have to put that 20% you're used to. If you feel like it, as an American, you feel like putting that 20%, go for it. But here it's not really required. And so you could just leave pretty much what you feel is a good tip for the Filipinos. Okay, so next, Filipinos will stare at you when you speak English, and it happens to me every time I leave this house. Well, we will be at a mall, we will be at a restaurant. And I get the chameleon effect, you know, or the owl effect, right? You know, those owls can turn their head like 190, 160, what is that? 180.
360
Not 360 around 180. So it's like the owl effect, right? Or that lizard effect. When I start speaking English, they will completely turn their head and look at you. I kid you not. We'll be on the bus. And as soon as I start speaking English, somebody will turn around in front of me and they'll completely turn their head. They'll look at you. They'll just turn like this and look at you like I just spoke alien. It's crazy. It's crazy. So Janice taught me how to say this one thing in Tagalog. So now every time somebody tells me, or not tells me, every time somebody sees me speaking English and they decide to stare at me, I'm gonna I haven't done it yet, but I'm waiting for the opportunity. As soon as somebody turns and stares at me because I'm speaking English, I'm gonna look them right in the eye and say, "Crush mo ba ako?" Which means, you have a crush on me. So be aware that when you speak your English here as an American, you are gonna get a lot of stares. People will just turn around and look at you. You could wave at them, you could smile at them. I usually do. I just smile and wave.
But actually, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It's just that Filipinos are just curious.
They're just not. They're curious. They're not used to. They're not used to hearing an American speak.
Especially here in the province, you don't get that in Manila.
And you don't get too many Americans out here, so
yeah. So in the province, it's very common.
But it's kind of funny, you know. When I still laugh when I see somebody turn their head completely around to look at me. because I'm speaking English. Like I said, I can't wait for that moment I say, crush mo ba ako, which means, do you have a crush on me? Man, I can't wait to use that, babe. That'll be funny. So be aware of that when you come here to the Philippines. Next one is local alcohols. So we were making a joke before we did this video just to talk about what we were going to talk about. And then, local alcohols and beers are cheap. So when you come into the Philippines, it is cheap if you buy the local brands of alcohol. They have what we call Funador. What's the other one? Emperador. Alfonso. So we were saying that anything that ends in a door, Funador, Emperador, is cheap. So they're usually brandies. You can get those here for real. I can't remember the price, but it's like dirt cheap to buy their alcohol. And usually that's what they drink, or they drink what we had. If you look at our other video, our neighbors, they were drinking Ginebra, gin.
The cheapest.
So that's like the cheapest alcohol you could find. So be aware that if you try to drink imported beer like Heineken or something like that, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And if you take a look at our SNR video, you could see all the different brands that they have here. They have all your beers that you like, but it'll be at a premium. It'll cost you. So, Filipino time means 1 hour or late. This is crazy. This is a crazy topic because I kind of make a joke and it's not a joke. So, Filipinos are used to conveniently being late. They will show up all and then some. They show up an hour late, sometimes 2 hours late, and it's like it's not one of those you show up to a party, you're going to be conveniently late because you want everybody to see your outfit. No, Filipinos are late all the time to anything. It doesn't matter if you say, hey, show up at 1 p.m. Meet me at the house at 1. They'll show up at 2. Guaranteed. So be aware that Filipino time means 1 hour late or even more sometimes, right? It's just their culture. They're not, Americans, they get upset if you're 5 minutes late. No.
But if it's a business meeting, you don't want to be late.
Yeah, it's true. If it's something you're going to meet a lawyer or something like that. But my guess is the lawyer will probably be 1 hour late too. So be aware that Filipinos are on Filipino time. They're usually 1 hour late. So there you go. Let me see what else. Security guards at the store entrances. You're not going to be used to this if you're American. You come here. Every store, babe, has what?
Security guards in front of their the store.
And what do they have in their hands?
And they have a gun.
They have a gun. So when you go to the mall, if you go to the bank, now I can understand the bank.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you go to the mall, you go to the bank, you go to 7-Eleven, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Some 7-Elevens. Yeah. But if you go to most stores here in the Philippines, there is a guard there, normally in uniform, and he'll have a white shirt. That's how you know. He'll have his hat. Well, have his full uniform, and he'll have a gun. Usually, sometimes he'll have a handgun in his holster, and at the bank they have shotguns. So they're not playing here. Because I don't know, I don't see the police. They're around. Trust me, the police are here. They have stations, and they're usually doing other business. But normally to guard stores and to guard retail, the retail industry, there is a guard everywhere you go. In front, normally holding a gun, or at the banks, they're holding shotguns. So careful, be very careful, all right? And they're usually friendly. You'll have no problems. And before you can even get into a mall, you have to go through a security checkpoint at every single mall you go to. So there will be somebody, and if you have a bag,
they will check your bag.
They will check your bag. Not very thoroughly, but as soon as you walk in there, there's a person, a security guard with a stick, and then you just open up your bag, and he'll just check in there. Sometimes they just do the real quick check, and then you're gone, right? Because there's just so many people coming into the mall. So be aware that when you come here, every store, every bank will have a security guard, and you'll have to go through it. Okay, so a salesperson waiting for you. So talk about what happens there, babe.
Just like security guards, salesperson is everywhere also selling their products. Usually in the department store, every section there, shoes, clothes, everywhere.
I'm going to
There's a salesperson.
I'm going to amend that statement. There are salespeople galore in the mall. If you go to SM Mall, and you go to the department store, you will see a store clerk on every section. If the little section there has wallets, there's a person standing there. There's a sales clerk there. Shoes. There will be like 5 sections of shoes. There will be five salesmen standing there. Now, you know us Americans, when we go to department stores, you can't even find a salesperson to help you. It's like, hello. You know, you're looking around for somebody to help you. Not in the Philippines. There will be a sales clerk on every section. Wallets, gloves, hats. I couldn't believe it. It's amazing. You'll see really, right, baby? You'll see. I mean, you can go to the shoe department at SM Mall. You'll see probably like 30 or 40 store clerks standing around the shoes, right? But what's funny is when
Same with the cyber zone area, or with the electronics.
Yeah,
There's
see
a lot of sales.
Same as electronics. If you go to the electronics department, they're all in front, like they're shouting out, "Hey, you want a phone? You want a phone? You want a phone?"
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get that. You just have to just walk by. No thanks, no thanks, no thanks. So be aware when you go to the electronics section. They're shouting. You know, you want your phone? Hey, sir, come on in. Get a phone. Get a phone. So be aware when you go to the malls that that's what you're gonna expect to see.
Yes.
So a lot of store clerks everywhere. All right, moving on. Hotels. This is a big one. Every American you come here, you're gonna stay at a hotel most definitely. So be aware when you come here to stay at a hotel, you will have to not only pay with your charge card, most likely, you will have to pay a cash deposit, right? They want cash. They don't want you to put it on your credit card either. They want cash. So when you come here, there are what's it called? Service charge, or what is it?
Just a deposit.
Not a service charge. It's a deposit.
Deposit.
I'm just thinking restaurant service charge. You will have to pay a deposit on your hotel room. So that deposit could be, if you're staying at a cheaper hotel, like a Red Planet, it may be 500 pesos. I don't know how much Red Planet charges, but that's one of the cheaper hotels. So it could be a Red Planet, a cheaper deposit. I can't remember if we paid that there. But the more expensive hotels can run up to, how much you would pay at that one? 5,000 pesos. You know, if you're
or more, I think,
or even more, depending on how much. I think we were paying like $100 at the time for a room, and I think it was like 5,000 pesos for a deposit. So make sure you have plenty of cash when you go to a hotel, because they will guarantee ask you for a cash deposit. And like I said, it could be anywhere from like 500 pesos to 5,000 pesos or even above. So just keep a good amount of money on you. Just be aware of that at hotels. That'll be a culture shock, because I don't remember going to any American hotels and they ask you for a deposit. They just take it right out of your credit card if something happens to the room. Oh, one more thing about that. They will check your room when you leave. So when you leave your hotel room, you're checking out, they'll have you wait at the counter.
Yeah.
And then they go to check what? Like, they just...
I don't know. I think they are checking the towels if it's missing.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to make sure, man. They're going to make sure that you ain't stealing no towels. I mean, they'll give you 2 waters for free. But bed sheets, whatever. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. We're not used to it. And it might kind of like irritate you. You know, you just want to check out of the hotel room. But be aware, they're going to have you wait while somebody goes up to the room to make sure the room is, I guess, not trashed or whatever. So be aware of that. All right. Next one is, it's customary for an adult to get a bless from a child.
Oh, yeah.
So here in the Philippines, there's this, I don't know, a traditional act that adults do with children. So it's called bless. And how does it work, babe?
So it's like this.
So who does this?
Younger than you. Like my nieces and my nephews do that to me. So I just put my hand in there, in front of them, and then they will bless. So it's a sign of respect.
So it's a sign of respect for your elderly, right? So the older adult will put their hand out, and then the little kid will put it on their forehead, and then the adult will say bless. So You could just see a bunch of kids and just bless, 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 whatever. So I don't want to diminish it. It's part of their culture here. Just be aware when you see that, don't freak out. It's like, what are they doing with their hand on that kid's forehead? It's traditional here. It's a sign of respect towards their elderly. It's pretty good. I kind of like it. So you will see that here. That may be a culture shock. You'll see the elderly putting their hands like that and putting on the forehead of the children to say bless, and they'll say bless. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we're almost done. Promise you, we're almost done. Malls or shopping centers you go to are overcrowded. Man, that to me that was the first thing I noticed coming here to the Philippines. As soon as I walked into a mall, man, it was like wall to wall people. Just be aware. I know it gets crowded in American malls, but when you come to a Filipino mall, I'm telling you, it's wall to wall people, crowds everywhere. A lot more, I would say a lot more than an American mall. A lot more. I mean, sometimes you're just trying to like walk between people because it's just so many people at the mall. So just be aware, the malls are overcrowded. You may be like, man, I feel kind of claustrophobic. You may feel that way when you get here because there's just so many people at the mall. I told Janice I thought it was maybe because of the aircon. No?
It's not.
Okay. Filipinos, what? They love the mall?
Yeah, they love the mall, window shopping, or whatever.
Getting to eat. Get something to eat, yeah?
Yeah, get something to eat.
Yeah, Filipinos love the mall. They just love the mall. So you will see probably the whole lot of Filipinos, the whole country at the mall.
Yeah.
All right. And our last one. No, is this our last one? Oh my God. So remember I told you to wait to the end. I had a special, I don't know, pet peeve or what was it? No, culture shock. That's what it is.
Is that your culture shock?
Yes, it's a culture shock that irritates me to this day.
No, it's not.
And here's that special, culture shock that bothers me. So when I came to the Philippines, and then Janice and I started dating, and so she'll sit on the sofa, and all of a sudden I notice something underneath her foot, and she'll wrap her foot in something, and so I'm like, what is that on your foot? At first I thought it was a blanket. I said, that's not a blanket. What is that? And so that thing that is on her foot is this. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this, and
that's very common.
I never saw this in my life in America, and so here it is very common, and I wish it wasn't common with her, but it is. This is called a what, babe?
Kulambo. This is my kulambo.
This is, she calls it my. Get it?
Yes.
Get it? Her little winky or whatever, her little like a little blankie. And so that's what it is. It is her security blanket. And so a lot of Filipinas have this, it's fishnet. So kulambo is a fishnet. So they'll take like a big portion of the fishnet and they'll just cut a piece. And then what she does, how do you do it? You just wrap
I just wrap my feet around it.
She wraps her feet around it. And for the longest, man, I had the hardest time dealing with this. Like, I would try to hide it, and she would tell me, where's my kulambo? And I was like, I don't know. And I would hide it. She would get, literally, the horns would come up. She would get angry. And I said, man, I better give her back this kulambo, this fishnet. And it like bugged me, man, for the longest. But now, after 7 years,
you love it.
I am now muzzled, and I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me as it did before. And I have to admit, I kind of like it. For the reason...
It's addicting.
For the reason now. Don't laugh at me. Guys, don't laugh at me. But I like it now. For the reason that it's rough and I can scratch my feet on it. So now, when she uses this at night, when we're in bed and we're sleeping, she'll wrap her feet in this kulambo, this fishnet, and then I'll reach over and scratch my feet on it because it's like sandpaper, and then I'll pull it away from her and I'll take it, and then she'll get mad. She's like, "Give me back my kulambo, get your own." So I actually told her yesterday, could you cut me another piece of this bowl? So could you imagine, guys? I think I'm turning Filipino because, man, I thought I would hate this for life. And now here I am 7 years later and I'm asking her to cut me another piece of this fishnet so I can have one for myself. My God, be careful if you come here to the Philippines, guys. Americans, be careful because your worst enemy may be something you like later. And man, your culture shock may become something that you like. So that will be the end of our video. And that's my special surprise for you guys. That is a culture shock for me. That it'll probably be a piece of me here in a little bit. That this kolambo.
Maybe their girlfriends also have this.
Whatever. If your girlfriend here in the Philippines has one of those, just deal with it, guys. And eventually, you'll probably want a piece like I do now. So
every woman with this is a nice woman.
Whatever.
Yes.
Well, guys, we're gonna cut for now. Thank you guys for watching this video and watching part 2 of what do you call this video again? Culture shock for Americans here in the Philippines. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Please
like and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
That's right. And also, please make a comment. Thank you guys for commenting on our channel. We appreciate all the new subscriptions. I mean, they've been coming in pretty fast and a lot of comments. We appreciate your comments. They've been coming in really fast also, and I try to keep up with you guys' comments. If you guys have any questions, concerns, any suggestions, please, because don't forget, a lot of people see your comments and you can also give them suggestions on things that maybe I or Janice and I can do better. So we thank you for your support of this channel. We're just growing. We've only been around for 3 weeks, but we're just trying to put good content for you guys. So we appreciate your time and thank you very much. We really, truly appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.